A lot of people are going DAWless as a way of simplifying their system, simplifying their process for making live music and jamming on synths. And I really understand that because I know the one I have that screen in front of me and that mouse in front of me, I'm so tempted to grab the mouse and start micromanaging the session instead of just making music. And I do want to focus on music and not managing software. Software is not fun to manage. Plus, my whole day job is managing software, so why would I want to do that in my fun time as well? My struggle with DAWlessness, pure DAWlessness, is that my way of thinking about music is really strongly influenced by the capabilities of Ableton Live. I've used Ableton Live for 10 years, and it's really central to my thinking. I assume its presence, and I assume its clips and its sampling and its effects and all of that. I just assume they'll be there. And for example, I find my hardware effects are quite limiting. I use the HX Effects module right now, and I use a Big Sky. Both great sounding, but I can only load so many. It's not quick to load a new effect in HX Effects. And also, they're not knob per function, so really they're not a lot easier than managing software. There's just not the temptation of the screen there to get lost in. And because this whole knob per function thing is really, I think, at the core for me of why I would want to go DAWless, is because my Mini Brute and my Neutron and my little performance mixer are close to knob per function, right? But as soon as you break out of that knob per function paradigm, you get into something like the Ableton or the Analog 4, you start to lose some of the advantages until you really learn the interface. I'm getting comfortable with the Analog 4 now, so I can find my way around on it. But, you know, the buttons and the knobs, they become different things depending on what mode you're in. So for me, I lose some of the immediacy, even though it is hardware. I do find the Push 2 to be a perfect, I want to say compromise isn't the right word, because I actually find it very empowering. I find that I know my way around it, and it's not knob per function, but it's very logically laid out. And once you learn the different modes and the different performance aspects of it, it turns Ableton into a piece of hardware for me. And I think that's what's really important. That's why for me, although technically not DAWless, it becomes a DAWless workflow when I put the computer down below where I can't see it, and I just use the push to interface with Ableton Live. And then I'm able to use all of Ableton's functionality, especially its effects per track, which of course are very powerful, without getting lost in the mouse and the screen and the endless fiddling. So my system continues to develop and change, and I'm incorporating actually the X32 into it this week. So I just kind of put this together over the last week, and it's mostly right. But the X32, though it's really big and bulky, it's very powerful. The 32 in, 32 out mixing console sound card, and you can't beat that. That's a ton of power. And so where I want to go with that is that I can use it as a physical mixer, which is what I've used for years and years. I've done music with physical mixer, muting and cueing and soloing and panning and EQing, and all of that has always been for me a very physical process on a mixing board, and I don't like doing it on Ableton. I especially don't like the cue, the way cue and solo and mute are mixed up on one button depending on the mode you're in and stuff. That I screw that up every time. I think I'm soloing when I'm actually blasting really bad music out the loudspeakers and stuff like that. So this doesn't work for me. But because I have a long history working with real mixers, the real mixer does work for me. And so the X32 is going to let me bring all of my hardware into Ableton and then back out through a mixer. And what I plan to do there is, because I have so many outs, I'm going to run each Ableton mixer channel to its own physical mixer channel on the X32, and then manage it as a physical mixer. And I actually I'm quite excited about that idea, because I know how I feel about physical mixers and how comfortable I am manipulating them. And it'll also allow me to use a physical process of queuing and queuing up tracks and then bringing them into the mix and that sort of thing. And it'll remember the mix. I can set it up to actually remember my setups and stuff because it's got all these cool memories. What else did I want to say? I wanted to tell you, yeah, so this thing, of course, Overbridge is one of the cool things that's come out for the Analog 4, and I do think it's cool, but I don't think I'm going to use it right now. I think I'll just run the stereo mains and then the 4 individual tracks through 6 tracks of the X32, because I've got lots of tracks, into Ableton and then back out through the X32, and just forego Overbridge for now, because I'm not really using it for what it's best at. I think in the performance thing, I'll use it for building patches. I do actually really like manipulating the Analog 4 from the screen with the mouse when I'm building a patch. But once I'm performing, I don't want to mess with that. Yeah, so I think this setup is going to allow me a balance of the flexibility of the software and the configurability of the software with the tactile, hands-on immediacy of dedicated hardware. I'm excited to see if it works out. I'm excited to see if it makes music making a more creative and enjoyable and flow kind of process. Because flow is what it's all about, I think. Enjoying that moment, enjoying the flow of creating something that is the thing you were imagining in your head. And that's where I want to get to. So I've been creating synth jams lately. I've got a couple or 3 on the channel here that you can check out if you like. I'm going to do more. Appreciate your support. Would love it if you would subscribe. I always point to the wrong side of the screen. I think it's over here. Oh, goodness. I think it's over here, and then there's a little bell beside it. So if you subscribe, that would be super cool. And if you click the little bell, then you'll be notified when I post stuff. And if you click the little thumbs up, that'll give me a like. And yeah, so this is my YouTube project where you're watching me learn how to do everything, including make YouTube videos. So thanks for your support. Check out my music. I'm checking out yours. I follow a lot of people on YouTube. I think I really love that about this platform, that you can get to know music. I hardly listen to commercial music anymore. I mostly just listen to other YouTube creators and the stuff they post, and it's cool. I'm learning a lot. So yeah, like I said, thanks for the support. If you subscribe, that would be awesome. And yeah, come back and see what I've posted using my new setup.